You're so right. In this land we hold dear. Tennessee truths shining bright, clear. From the Smoky Mountains to the Gulf's embrace, our spirits rise, no matter what the fate.
This is You're So Right, the podcast that covers issues and politics for Davidson County, the state of Tennessee, and national issues that affect us right here at home. I'm political strategist and former Davidson County GOP chairman, Lonnie Spivak, and today we're welcoming Rick Williams, native Nashvilleian, Republican strategist, and consultant to discuss something called Nashville Essential Structures for Togetherness. Now, I don't know what crazy person came up with a name like Nashville Essential Structures for Togetherness, also known as NEST, but what a crazy name for a program. Now, before we get to Rick, NEST is essentially the structure of the city's Build Baby Build policy, and according to the Tennessean, NEST is 9 proposals led by at-large council member Quinn Evans Segal and District 20 Councilman Roland Horton, which were introduced to Metro Council on February 2nd. Now, in a nutshell, what this proposal does is it changes the zoning laws within this NEST area, which is still really yet to be defined, but it basically will remove the single-family home zoning and make all homes multifamily zones. So, Rick, welcome to the program.
How
are you doing
Lonnie.
today?
Always good to be with you.
Now, Rick, you and I go way back, probably 15 years now, and you and I have worked to kill some of the most destructive programs in Nashville's history, and that is 2 transit plans. You and I worked with Stop AMP on Megan Barry's plan, and then
Carl Dean's plan.
Carl Dean's plan,
Yeah.
and then also Stop BRP with
Part of that.
Megan Barry.
Yeah.
And so you and I have really worked together and have put a halt to really some of Metro's dumbest ideas through the years.
Well, we have. Unfortunately, we were not successful in the most recent election. The people behind terrible transit plans and things that don't do anything except provide more service to people that don't ride it is this plan that passed kind of partisan. It was on they were smart to put it in November when everyone would be going to the polls and voting either R or D, and the Harris vote was almost exactly the same as the for transit vote.
Now that transit plan, I think it's Nashville Next or Move Nashville. What was the name of it? I don't even remember.
I can't remember the name of Freddie's plan, but it was a transit plan. Choose how you move.
Choose how you move,
which sounds really nice.
But one of the main components of Choose How You Move was affordable housing, and so the Choose How You Move had these transit hubs, and all these transit hubs are going to be high density, what they're calling affordable housing, which we don't really know what that is. And then all that really ties back in to this NEST program, what they're calling Nashville Essential Structures for Togetherness, or NEST. And so, Rick, why don't you tell us a little bit about what NEST is?
Well, let me just put everything together and kind of give you an idea of how it all fits together. Nest is over here, transit is over here. Now you see a move to do away and put the Historic Zoning Commission inside the Planning Commission. So what that tells me, it tells me that this is the fast track. All the quick build developers have come in from out of state, out of town. We've got some great builders here that have been here for years. One of them I can think of is Old South Properties, and they go out and find land and build houses and sell houses to people. This is to go in and take land in the Urban Services District, which, to tell people that have not lived here their whole life like I have, Urban Services District is the old city limits of Nashville before Nashville became Metropolitan Nashville.
So basically, if you get your trash picked up by the city and you live somewhere close to a liquor store, you're in the Urban Services District. If you live outside that area, you're what's called the General Services District. And in those areas, you pay for your own garbage pickup, or your neighborhood does. You probably pay a little extra for your sewage. and you got to drive a few extra blocks to get to the liquor
Get to the
store.
liquor store, right?
And so that's the difference between the urban and general services districts.
But if you live in that urban services district, and it's a big part of Nashville, this bill would go in, and where you maybe live in a community of single family homes, all at once they would be able to rezone that and actually put 4 units on the same lot, either together. I think probably building them back to back, kind of like a quad, but they could be single family and owned, but you could put 4 of them on a particular lot.
So if you've been out to the Nations or out to East Nashville, if you go into the Nations, they've torn down all these old homes and they're building 2 tall skinnies on that lot. And if you go out to East Nashville, there's like blocks and blocks of apartment units where each apartment building has probably 300 units. Now you take that, and this nest really puts that to steroids, because like in West Nashville, where they're putting 2 tall skinnies on those lots, now they'll be able to put 4 or even more houses on that same land. And Davidson County has really amped up the density. I think it's been their plan to grow as fast as they can to get as much additional property tax in as possible to help cover some of the shortfalls they've been seeing in recent years.
And one of the things, Lonnie, I believe, and I need to check this, but your readers can easily, or listeners can easily Google it. They can see where Metro recently passed a zoning change of commercial property can now be used as residential property pretty easily. If you own a strip center and now that property would make more money with 300 apartments on it and it's on Charlotte or Gallatin Road, then you just go over to Metro and say, hey, I want to put some more housing in the marketplace here. And they pretty much let you do that. They're not worried about you no longer will have the grocery store on the corner or whatever is there now. They're all about housing, and it's all fast-tracked. And the same with the historic zoning. They're trying to do away with the Historic Zoning Commission or put it inside the Planning Commission, which will give it the Planning Commission is on steroids. And I'm afraid I've now live in a city where if you want something done, if you have enough money, you can get it done. And I never wanted to live in a city like that.
Now, not long ago, there was a neighborhood meeting on Nest. Tell me how that went.
Well, it was about a year ago, I guess. I can't remember the date, but it was quite a while ago, not quite a year. And it was at Belmont University in one of their bigger meeting rooms over there. It was called by Council Lady Quinn Evans, I believe.
Seagal, yeah.
Evans, yeah. And she had the meeting there, and this rumor about what Nest was going to do and how it was going to change the complexity, even houses in and around Belmont, Hillsborough Village, all the old neighborhoods, how you could go in again and take a perfectly fine home and a developer can buy it, tear it down, and put 4 units there. That place was packed that day. I mean, they couldn't get everybody in. There was hundreds of people out in the hallway. And when she got in there, she got an earful.
Now, if I remember correctly, there was room for, I think, like 250 people. And if I remember, like 800 people showed up for that meeting.
It was quite a lot of people. I was lucky enough to get there, and I was one of the last people to scoot in the door and get inside where I could sit down and listen. But she was verbally harassed, shouted down. People would ask questions. She wouldn't answer them. And I think she got the cold wind feel of what her legislation would do. And part of that made a lot of publicity. And I think probably Mayor O'Connell probably went to her and said, look, I've got a transit plan. I don't need this out here bothering my transit plan. He was all about getting that transit plan passed. Again, it's part and parcel to getting the Nest plan passed, part and parcel to no longer worrying about our historic buildings, which if you go downtown, people love Nashville because we have been able to save our old historic buildings. Just like on 2nd Avenue for years, there was a Hooters in a historic building. I mean, where do you find that in America?
Right.
But we have been able to work together to have historic buildings saved and modern, more newer restaurants or bars or whatever put in there.
So in addition to density, what the effect that this will have on traffic, especially as they start implementing this transit plan, uh, um, I think will be pretty immense. Um, just the number of people who are going to be moving into the city, if they get this through, will be enormous.
Well, it will. And another thing I'd ask your listeners to look at the next time they drive down any road in downtown Nashville. The other day, Demonbreun Street, which has been 2 lanes each way for years, is now 1 lane each way. Part of Freddie's planning department, part of more wider sidewalks, then lanes for bicycles, taking up what used to be the 2nd lane on Demonbreun Street. Now, we're talking from the interstate up to the statues at the top of the hill. That is now 1 lane each way. And then people ask, well, why is it congested in Nashville? It's congested because they're taking the path for your car away. Take Division Street from that same statue around to the liquor store on 8th Avenue. That used to be 2 lanes each way. Okay, that's a big thoroughfare in the afternoon when people are leaving the Music Row area to get over to Interstate. A lot of people take that because it now cuts you through all the way to, I think, 4th Avenue. That's a pretty busy street. Well, they've cut that back. Now it's 1 lane each way. So these kind of plans that are in Freddie's transit plan will make the traffic worse. It doesn't matter if you live in Rutherford County. Once you get here, you've got to deal with these crazy streets.
And then when you add the Nest plan on top of that, it's just going to amplify that. And you throw buses in these neighborhoods, and I don't know how many streets you've driven down lately, but they put all these darn speed cushions in, and then they got all these reflector poles, and so you're going to have this Nest zoning if they get it through. I think they've deferred it to like April 2nd.
It's coming up this spring, and trust me, there's going to be a push on it, and there's groups forming now to push back because you're going to take away the character of your neighborhoods that are fantastic neighborhoods. Been there. Just look at the Hillsborough area, Belmont area, around anywhere that you are in the urban services district. And a lot of those homes are beautiful old homes. But when money gets in the way, because they're not, the argument from the Nest side is, oh, we're going to make more affordable housing. I'm sorry, if it's $1 million house here now, when they tear that house down, they're going to build 4 back at $500,000 and make $1 million. Okay, so nobody can afford a $500,000 house.
A perfect example of this is the Vanderbilt area. The Vanderbilt area is in the urban services district, and they have these old, beautiful craftsman homes. Some of them were Victorian style, but they're just old, beautiful homes that really set the character of Nashville. And if they get the most destructive part of this plan through, those houses will be torn down by developers, and they will put 4, 6, or more houses in its place.
Right. They'll just group them together. And another thing that we're losing, and please look at this when you drive around Nashville, look at how much on-street parking we have. There's no difference than somebody parking their car on the street and somebody camping in the park. It's still using government property that was meant to be for everybody, but when Metro lets a developer then put parking spaces in front of his building and doesn't have a pay meters there of any kind, then you're providing parking for developers that have to build less parking garages or parking areas for the units they're building. So look at South Street that runs from Music Row over to, I think, 8th Avenue. Look at that street. It used to be 2 lanes each way. Now there's 1 lane where everybody can park on the street and 1 lane for travel traffic. But yet, everybody wonders why we have congestion. Same thing with by Walgreens on West End. If you turn and going the connector that was supposed to connect us all to North Nashville, and we had the connector bridge built, and that was going to be a great thing. That street is down to 1 lane each way now, so it's not much connection getting over to West End, but it was supposed to be able to connect the TSU area over to West End quicker. But again, you're down to 1 lane each way when you get over by the park there. So I just watch it. I watch parking and bicycle lanes creep in on traffic and take our vehicle lanes away, which in turn adds up to you having more time in the car being congested.
So it sounds like the zoning and transit, they're going to go hand in hand.
They're all tied together. The transit plan, the zoning, the historic zoning, it's all together.
Now, you and I talked about this a little bit, but Mayor Freddie O'Connell is a very talented politician. Nashville has had some really good mayors. We've had some really not so good mayors, but we've rarely had a politician who is articulate as a Mayor O'Connell. Now, he can really put on the sauce. And when you hear him talk about the plan, he's like, well, we have to deal with our growth, and we have this and we have that. And he makes it sound, well, yeah, I think we do need that. But once you really look into the details, the people who live in these neighborhoods are really saying, no, we don't want that.
Exactly. That's why they had so many people at Belmont that day. And they'll be back. If their neighborhood's affected, they'll be back. We've got to let other neighborhoods know, though, because this is not just part of Nashville. This is all of Nashville where there's an urban services district. So you're talking over probably around Stratford, Inglewood area, East Nashville. All these areas are going to see the same thing. And unfortunately, I don't see it to be politicians' jobs to create housing. That's not their job. The housing market is a private market that will take care of itself. And I don't know that why we have to all at once, all these people are coming. I hate to tell the mayor, they're not all coming here. They're going to Williamson County, Wilson County, Rutherford County, Sumner County, Robertson County. They're not all, I know they say there's 100 people a day or something like that coming here. They're not all stopping in Nashville, trust me. And with this problem with the license plate readers not in place and crime soaring, they find out real quickly they don't want to live in Nashville.
Now, what effect do you think this type of zoning would have on businesses that are either currently in Nashville or want to move to Nashville?
Well, that cuts both ways. I mean, businesses want their employees close, and probably some of the big corporations would probably maybe support this. But I'm a native Nashvilleian. We didn't get where we are by being quick and fast. Used to, we had council members that would serve long terms because we only passed term limits in the last, 15 to 20 years when term limits went into effect. And we had men that, I remember Paul Blankenship in Inglewood. He protected Inglewood like it was his own property. Buster Boguski, I can keep naming, Carney Patterson. All over town, these men protected their communities and made sure you didn't have bad zoning. And that's one reason we have such a great city now. We've got great homes in great communities, and this will be a way to decimate it. And we just don't want that. I don't want to see it happen. I mean, again, we got great. We are the hot city. There's a reason everybody wants to come here. It's cool. We got these historic buildings. We got these old beautiful homes. And so people wanting to live here, and it's not the government's problem to fix if people can't afford to live here. There are places they can't afford to live, and that's what we need to worry about.
Well, oftentimes these things have unintended consequences. So they may be trying to increase this density to maybe fix our housing inventory, but really what they're going to do is just build a lot of expensive homes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a developer's delight. You take one lot and you make $1 million off of it. And the other thing, too, please remember, part of the transit plan that Lonnie and I were opposed to that Freddie O'Connell passed had a housing feature in that where they were going to build government housing around these transit centers. So out in Green Hills, they had a spot picked out, and they were going to probably buy much more land than they needed for the transit center, but in turn either lease or sell to private developers to build what they call workforce housing, which is another term for government housing. The government finds a nice way to put a nice name on everything.
Yeah. So one of the things that really will connect to this Nest plan is something that was passed last year by the Metro Council, and really with the help of the state government, was called the East Bank Authority. And so what the East Bank Authority is a 9-member group of a 9-member board who's really responsible for the overall development of the East Bank. They've really created a government inside of a government that will run 550 acres of the East Bank of Nashville. Now, this group really has complete authority over this zoning, and that will include these multifamily home units. Am I correct?
It will, and you know that. I mean, that's something that just grates me terribly because I like the fact everybody has a councilman they can go to with their problems. People living in this 550 acres, just imagine a council district. And now, once you don't have your councilman no more, the mayor has appointed 5 people. The Speaker of the House and Lieutenant Governor has appointed 1 each. You got 7 people.
The comptroller, I think, has a.
Well, I think the mayor and the council.
yeah.
Let me put that together. They have 5 together. The mayor and the council have 5, and I think maybe they have 7 together. And then the speaker and the lieutenant governor have 1, so it's 9.
Yeah.
But those 9 will now be in charge of that area, and there's nobody to go to or no way to appeal that. There are actually 2 developers who, before this was passed, went to get their building permits. One of them was a $60 million apartment complex. He went to get his building permit, and the Metro Zoning said, well, I'm sorry, we don't have anything planned for that. We have a street going through there. He goes, wait a minute, I bought my property. I paid for it. I'm ready to build my complex, make my profit like we do in America. Oh, no, we're not giving you a permit. He's in federal court. There's another developer did that. And this great deal that they put together for TPAC to move across the river has fallen apart. This same 9-member board and Bob Mendez apparently is keep asking more and more out of TPAC to do, and the TPAC board has now walked away from moving the TPAC over there, just like some of us tried to tell Speaker Sexton and Lieutenant Governor and the senators, this is not a good idea, and it's coming to prove factual.
Well, this was originally 9 proposals were part of this nest. Now, we don't exactly know how this will end up when Metro Council takes this back up in the spring. When is the next set of Metro elections? When will people be able to vote on their council members next?
Not till 27. We just re-elected everybody in 20. We elected everyone in 23. And there'll be another Metro Council and mayor's election in 2027, August of that day.
So the point is that you're not going to be able to elect these people out in time to make any of these changes. So it's really important for you to pay attention to this nest in the news and make sure that your council members know that you do not want this extreme multifamily zonings in your neighborhood.
Yeah, there's a group, Save Nashville Neighborhoods, I believe is the name of it. I think they have a Facebook page. I think they have a web page. They're getting together and getting ready to have to fight this, and it's going to be an important fight. We can't let our character of our neighborhoods go away. That's what made us the great city we are, and we've got to maintain that. There are a lot of neighborhood organizations out there, and I encourage all of you. This is not partisan at all. This is about saving your community or not saving your community. It's not Democrat, Republican, Independent. It's not gay, straight, whatever. It's saving your community. It don't matter who your neighbor is. You want the houses to be the same in the neighborhood so your value stays up. And if anything, it's going to backfire on them. Their argument that this is going to add for more housing, affordable housing, unless they put some clause in there, you can only build 4 that are a certain price or something, it's not going to be affordable for anybody.
Well, we all know that the official bird of Nashville is the crane because you see them everywhere. Rick, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
When we get more information on this, please come back and we'll
Yes,
give
sir.
an update.
Thanks
so much. Thank you for joining us for this first episode of You're So Right. Our next episode will be about a property tax increase that's being proposed by Mayor Freddie O'Connell. So you can find us on the web at you'resoright.us and on all the social medias. So see you next time.
Echoes of history in every stream and yield. You're so right in this land we hold dear. Tennessee truths shining bright, Smoky Mountains to the Gulf's embrace. Our spirits rise, no matter what the fate. In the heart of Nashville, where dreams take flight, with every note, the city lights ignite. From honky-tonks to farms, our stories blend in the heart of Tennessee, where we belong. The winter whispers tales of old in every town and field. Echoes of history in every stream and guild. You're so right, in this land we hold dear. Tennessee truths shining bright, clear. From the Smoky Mountains to the Gulf's embrace, our spirits rise, no matter what the fate. Through storms and shine, we stand tall and proud. In the heart of Tennessee, our voice is loud.